ritual and inclusive expression of professionals that seeks to assist people become saviors to the problem of our world. So what some of the ways we want to give expression is some of the activities like this. And today we would be delving more into questions as it relates to love and marriage. And I would encourage every one of us, if you have your questions, please start drafting those questions now, draft it. And I'm very sure that we have our guest speaker is capable. She's well prepared to be able to treat every question that will be shared this evening. We won't want to try as much as possible to get enough questions. If you want to have any questions, please direct the questions directly to me, and maybe through the chat box. And I will surely ensure that your questions is given utmost attention. Whilst we wait for our friends, one of the reasons why we are doing this is that we have failed to stop, sharing the blame game. We identified that there is lack of clear success template that is replicable and scalable. And we have researched success roadmap that can deliver on promise and produce formidable people to ensure that not only will we say by the grace of we made it out of luck, but we can replicate some of these templates, and that's why one of the things we do. We also recognize that there is an inability to collaborate for impact and lack of community amongst us, especially as Africans. And so what we are trying to do is to build a prosperous community that collaborates for impact. And if there's anything that is also paramount amongst our community is that we keep on the blame game. We continue to complain and about everything, about religion, about race, about gender, about everything. But what we are doing here as saviors is that we want to raise saviors who are indispensable everywhere they go, who will not be crying or be looking at, be complaining. We will not be complaining about the speakmate, but will be a solution to the problem. We also notice that there's depth of authentic leaders who genuinely wants to create a community of strong people and systems. We find the stories, different stories about people gathering people together and using it for their own agenda. But what we are trying to build in this House of Savior is a community, a brotherhood of competent solution providers who provide solutions for their community, transforming their world. Our goal is to promote a tribe of saviors who collaborate to solve critical human problems everywhere they go. Once again, if you are just joining us, this is the House of Saviors UK. My name is Israel Anu, and today is one of our village meeting, and we have our guest speaker ready to, ensure that we have a good time today. We'll be talking about love and marriage, and very quickly, without much ado, I want to introduce our guest speaker for today. Before I introduce her, let me just read a brief, presentation about her. Our guest speaker is the lead consultant at Pasture Wellness and Psychotherapy Center, Nigeria's foremost counseling firm that renders succor, support, and strategies to individuals on relationship, evaluation and management, addiction and trauma recovery, sex therapy, adultery recovery, pre and post marital counseling, emotional and mental well-being matchmaking. Our guest today is Kemi Tony Akinwumi. Kemi is a level 4 diploma graduate, certified counselor and relationship therapist from Blackford Counseling Institute, UK. She studied English language from the Lagos State University, Nigeria, Uplands White. Kemi is a lover of God with a charming personality who enjoys adventure, cooking, playing, and teaching and learning. She is happily married to her dear husband, and together they are building an international family, raising 2 wonderful young men and several mentees. Please join me in welcoming once again our guest speaker for today, Mrs. Kemi Tony Akinwumi. Please, in the chat box, let's just please welcome her. Let's welcome our guest speaker for today. You're welcome, ma.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone.
Hello, Mrs. Kemi. You're welcome.
Yes, good evening. Can you hear me?
Good evening. It's great to have you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thank you for honoring our invitation. And very quickly, we do not have much time in our hands. If you have questions, I would love us to start dropping our questions. But in the absence of that, I might need to, we might need to move on with our own questions that we just penciled down for today's session. Very quickly, ma'am, we are talking about marriage, and if there's anything that is important in this discussion of marriage and this institution, is money matters. Money matters.
Most definitely.
Yeah. So
money.
Money is all about the Benjamins. Can you please help us with some common financial challenges couples face and how they can address them effectively as it relates to their finance?
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Israel. I hope I get the name correctly.
Yes, please.
Right. Thank you so much. And good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm so delighted to be here, spending my late evening with you all. All right. So, like you rightly mentioned, money is a very important factor in relationships, romantic relationship, marital relationship. Money. And not just in relationship, actually. In life, we need money, right? And even as married couples, we don't have sex every day, but we spend money every day. We don't argue, we don't have conflict every day, but every single day of our lives, we have to spend. There has to be some financial responsibility, on both sides for different things. So when you say that, what are the common problems? What are the common challenges that couples have, regarding money, regarding finances in marriage? Is quite a lot, and it's peculiar to, each couple. But generally, people come into marriage with different mindsets, and we also come into marriage with our money mindset, right? We all have a way, we have a relationship with money before marriage. And we also have our personalities, our money personalities, our financial personalities. We have how we relate with money. So say, for instance, the woman is an investor. Her personality when it comes to money is she wants to invest, right? And the old husband, on the other hand, is the spender, right? Because every human being, we have our money personalities. Some are spenders, some are savers, some are investors, some are shoppers, some are borrowers, which means that when you get money, what's usually your first response? What's the first thing you want to do with the money, right? How did you see people? How did you see your parents manage money while you were growing up? What was money like for you? Did you have abundance? Did you have, little? Did you have to manage through life? You had to. So people come into marriage with different mindsets, and those mindsets show up when you now have to engage your partner on money matters, right? So one person wants to spend, the other person wants to shop. One person wants to invest, the other person wants to save. One person wants to save, there is one person who is the giver, who believes that give all that you have, just give. And so some of these things then begin to cause conflict. But over time, in my practice, one of the major areas I see is that couples not agreeing on how to channel their family revenue, right? The husband works, the woman works, they both earn, right? So they have a certain amount of money they generate, their family, their nation generates, maybe weekly or monthly, right? So some actually find it a bit difficult in harmonizing and having a joint decision, not necessarily a joint account now, because what we have been told over time is that couples should have joint account. Excuse me, put your money together, save together, and all of that. So when there is no joint vision, the joint account will not still be effective. It won't be functional. It won't be productive. So couples need to actually come together and have a joint vision, joint goal, joint idea on how they want to put their money, into use. That's when a joint account can be functional. So how can couples, what would be my few tips for couples on how to manage finances? Is that number one, before you manage money, you must manage yourself, right? Because the money you have will take your ship, like they say. Money takes after the handler, money takes after the owner, right? So we can't truly separate the two to say that, oh, this is how we want to manage our money. It starts from self, right? So, and that, like I mentioned earlier, you must understand your personality. So then, is it healthy? Is it not healthy? What do you need to change? How do you need to manage? So all of that is there. And you need to understand the personality of your partner and also be able to accommodate it. The fact that someone is a spender doesn't mean they are bad investors. The fact that somebody wants to doesn't also mean that they can save, right? So understand who you are married to, understand their relationship with money, their mindset with money. Some people believe whatever you have, spend it. It is what I eat, I will carry and fly, like they say in my place. So somebody just wants to spend all the money. And somebody is thinking, how can we multiply this money? How can we, how can 1 million become 5? How can I? So know who you are married to. And then transparency, because that's one area as well that some couples struggle with. Being able to be open, and transparent about how much you have, how much you earn, the investment you own, the properties you have, right? Until your partner gives you that doubt, you have to still be transparent. Until there is a need for you to begin to, have other opinions, other choices, make better decisions for yourself to protect yourself and your future, you have to be open and be transparent. So I think those are some of the things that can help couples, manage their finances, remembering that we all have our peculiar situations anyways.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's a great advice. I hope you are jotting this down, and I hope you are taking note. Which money personality are you taking on? Are you an investor, like Investor Sabinus? Are you a spender? Are you a shopper? Are you a order? Are you, you don't give shishi, a saver? Are you are you with kind of a giver?
Yeah.
So I don't think there is a bad personality. It's just that, like our speaker has said, we should understand our partners and understand their mindset with money. And most especially, we need to be able to communicate. We need to be able to be open and transparent about this issue. And talking about, just before I go into the next question, I just also want to remind us that this is a question and answer session as it regards marriage, love and marriage. Please feel free, relax, send your questions to me privately through the chat box, and I'll be sure that your questions will be treated. You know, sometimes it's quite expensive for you to engage a professional, a counselor, one-on-one. This is an opportunity for you to ask those questions that might, you know, be weighing you down and you don't have someone to give answers to. It's an opportunity for you to ask those questions right now. And I'm sure that our speaker is trained enough and well qualified to be able to treat it in a professional manner. Thank you very much, Ma. Once again, whilst we wait the questions from the participants' time and our friends and members of the tribe, let's go to a question that basically talks about communication. And you talked about communication one way or the other in our finances. Can you please help us with some strategies, some effective communication strategies that can help strengthen our relationship?
Right. Okay, so what is communication? So if I'm going to just illustrate by what has been happening since we started this meeting, is someone who is trying to convey a message to another person, right? And communication is not complete until the other person understands what you are trying to say. Not just, you know, hearing you. I can hear you, but I may not be able to understand or comprehend, assimilate, and adequately respond to you. Right? So in simple terms, communication is I'm trying to get something across to you, and until you understand me, I have to continue to say it. I have to continue to devise various means at which I can pass that information across to you, right? And there are different ways at which we communicate. How did we learn how to communicate, right? Research has said that people, when a child is born, aside maybe some medical challenge that individual may have that may prevent them from talking, a child begins to talk because he sees humans around him or her who are talking, right? And so the child is trying to imitate. And so the boy or the girl will try to mumble some words, and then after some time, with every other thing being equal, that child will fall, right? So all of us, we all have a style of communication that we have learned from parents, from society, from people who are very significant to our lives, right? When we were growing up, more like people who, you know, by proxy, people that we saw, that we modeled, right? So we all have a different style of communication, right? And some are, I want to run away from good or bad, right? Okay. Some are easier, some might not be very easy for, you know, someone to express themselves. Some of us are very expressive, while some of us are, you know, little talkers, fewer, you know, manage with few words and all of that. But when it then comes to marriage, because we always have to look at the background, right? So now you marry. This person has their, you know, their style of communication, right? But the whole idea is that I want to be able to talk to you and get you to understand me. So if I'm saying something and you don't understand, I don't have to get angry at you that you don't understand what I'm saying. I have to take the pain. Okay. All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. This must be network issue.
Can you hear me, please?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Thank you very much.
All right.
All right.
You know I'm here in Nigeria.
Okay.
So it's not
no
it's just sometimes how the internet operates here. Yeah. All right, so I think I'm back now. You can hear me. So I was trying to explain the importance of us understanding what communication is really. If I'm trying to get an information across to you, and you don't understand me, I have to take the pain to get you to understand what I'm saying. And that's usually where some of us struggle, right? Because we just want the person to understand what we are saying, not considering that person's style of communication, right? So as couples, you must know who you're married to. We are different. Your partner will not talk like you. You don't have to talk like your partner. We all have our area of strength and weaknesses. Some of us are listeners. Some of us are pointers. We go directly to the point. Some of us, we paraphrase, just summarize everything. Some of us are expanders. We want to expand on what we want to say. And then remember that somehow people like who are like them. If you are a very expressive person, you are likely to want your partner to also be such a person, right? When you want to talk to the person, I'm talking, I'm using my eyes, I'm using my hands, I'm using so much gesticulation, I'm using so much non-verbal communication, and then the person wants to respond, and the person just tells you a statement or a sentence. After you have, expressed yourself for like 5 minutes, and then this person just uses one statement to reply, right? And so things like that sometimes could cause, friction between couples, which is back to know who you're married to. But how do we communicate? Find how your partner communicates and respond to them in that way. And keep learning, be observant, And when you are also communicating, it's important that you are respectful, because usually that's also another area that some couples, have some challenge with, wherein the way we express ourselves, the way we talk. Are we being respectful? Are the words kind? Are the words, are they mild? Are they kind? Are they sweet words? Are you being considerate of the emotions of your partner? Because even if you are angry, even if you are having some grievances, there are still better ways to communicate with your partner that you love, that you cherish and respect in a warm manner, regardless of whatever the situation is.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ma. If you are just joining us, this is a village meeting. Our own tribe, the House of Shreveport tribe, the UK arm, and my name is Israel Anu, and our guest today is Mrs. Kemi Tony Akinwumi, and she's really helping us addressing a lot of issues that we might be having in our marriage or in our relationship. Like I said, it's a question. This session is for questions to address issues. If you have any question, please put it in the chat box directly. And if you feel you want to ask the question directly, please raise up your hand. You can just signify by raising up your hand via the or just let me know. You can just turn off your unmute your mic and ask your questions, and let me know that you want to ask a question, and we would quickly give you a chance, because this is for you. This session is for you. We just prepared some questions in case you are not coming forth to help you speak your mind, but we want to hear directly from you, and we have limited time to deal with some of these questions. So I would love to listen. I would love to listen from you if you want to ask any question right now, or if you want to type, you can just send your questions to the chat box and we would address it. Any question? Anybody who wants to ask any question, you are free to just unmute your mic right now. Anyone? All right, let's just move forward. Is there any such thing as finding the perfect person, or is perfection just a myth?
Right. So is perfection a myth? Well, there is no one that is perfect. We say that it's a common saying that No one is perfect. No marriage is perfect. Even the world we live in is not perfect, right? So even if we can't find a perfect human being, we can build a perfect relationship for ourselves. You don't have to look out for a perfect partner. Love doesn't have to be perfect for it to be beautiful. Love doesn't have to be perfect for it to be enjoyable, to be satisfying, right? So we shouldn't, so when you say it's perfection in myth, yeah, perhaps it can be, you can describe it like that. But most times when I hear people say that, do I want a perfect person? I want a perfect relationship. What I often hear them say is that they want someone who they can vibe together. They want someone who share their interests. They want someone they can connect with. They want someone that, who shares their values. They want someone they can have a pretty much easier relationship with. They want someone, everybody has, this idea and this, ideal partner that we all want. And there's nothing wrong to have a taste. There's nothing wrong to have those desires, right? But when people say perfect, what I often hear is, I just want someone that with little or no wahala, right? With little or no drama. Someone in our life, we can synchronize, we can synergize, we can collaborate, we can build a beautiful relationship together. That's what I believe most people mean when they say perfect. So, is there a perfect person out there? The response is obvious, right? However, I also try to be cautious, to be cautioned, because when people say I'm not perfect, and then they hide under I'm not perfect, and you keep saying you're a work in progress 1 year, and a work in progress 5 years. Nobody is perfect. Leave me like that. Take me the way I am. Yeah, you should be you have your flaws. Everybody, and then we hide under that, and we are not growing. We are not improving ourselves. We are not becoming a better person for ourselves, for our relationship, and then we throw it in the air. Nobody is perfect. In as much as that exists, we all know we are not perfect, but we need to be deliberate, right, in improving ourselves, making sure we become better versions of ourselves, right? So perfection, run away from it. But is it possible that two human beings come together and deliberately, they are committed, they are devoted, they put in the time, the work, the effort, and they build a perfect relationship or a near perfect relationship? Okay, maybe let's run away from the word perfect. They build a functional relationship, right? They build a satisfying relationship where you can say, my marriage is not perfect, but I'm having a great time. We don't have it all figured out, but we are not also crazy. It's not gospels, right? We are having a wonderful time together. So it's possible in that light. But I want a perfect life, perfect marriage, perfect wife, perfect. We are going to be on the queue for a long time.
All right.
Committed, you can't have, a satisfying marriage. It's possible.
Okay. Thank you very much. The questions are coming in right now, and back to Money Matters. So the question goes thus: how can one manage living with a spouse that doesn't contribute financially to the upkeep of the house?
You are living with a spouse that doesn't contribute financially
to the upkeep of
the house. So I also have a few questions to ask, because it is possible that your spouse may not be capable of earning. So is this person earning? The person has the capacity to earn, and the person is earning an income, however little, right? And then the person just decides, right? And you are married, you are living together, either in a rented apartment or an acquired apartment, or you are paying mortgage or whatever. Because sometimes when we hear questions like this, there are other, elements that may be attached to it. Sometimes maybe the wife or the husband may be having health challenge, and that at that moment, the person may not be able to earn, may not be able to work. They don't have the strength or the skill, not the skill, the strength, because it's a medical condition, right? And they can't fend for the family, and perhaps it's a temporal thing. But when you now say that you are married, a man and a woman, who made a commitment to be married. You are living together in a house, and one person earns money, right? Makes money, however little, and has decided not to contribute financially to the upkeep of the house, the maintenance of the family, then there is a major problem. We want to first of all find out the reason. Has this person always been like that since you contracted the marriage? Has this person always been an irresponsible human being, wherein you make money, you have a wife, I don't even want to say you have children, right? Eating, you have a house to sleep, you open your tap, it provides water that you are paying for, you put on the switch, you get lights that you are paying for. So who incurs all that cost?
Yeah.
So there are major relationship issues that may be happening, obviously. There's something happening with that relationship, right? Because a relationship, a marriage is that we want to synergize, we want to collaborate. You want to bring your funds, I bring my resources, you bring your skill, I bring my knowledge. We make something great out of life together.
Yeah.
Right? So and I'm in that family, you have to have a sitting, you have to have a meeting with that person.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Have a meeting. This is how much is the expenditure for that family. Either is weekly, either is monthly. How do you generate the money? How do you make that money to spend? Right? So if that person is not responsible to paying the bills in any way, then the partner has to do something. Is the partner comfortable with paying, with taking care? Can you hear me, please?
Let's mute our mics, please.
Right. Is the partner comfortable with taking care of all the bills? And even if pastor is comfortable, how sustainable is that? Well, I don't know who the person is married to. If you are married to one of Dangote's son now, we can say you don't have to, Dangote wouldn't have to quarter. That person will take care of all the bills, right? So it depends. You have to communicate.
Yeah, it says it claims it's always broke.
It's always broke.
It claims it's broke.
Okay, it claims it's broke. So how, we had mentioned earlier about transparency, about being open. So I am working, I earn 50,000 in my own country, 50,000 naira, right? So 50K monthly, I spend 10 on transport. I spend 10 on my mother's drugs. I spend 5 on, this person has to be that open for your partner to understand that, okay, this is really the reality of our situation. Do you understand?
All right.
So it's not to just say I'm broke and you want to feed, but like I said, except the partner is comfortable. But if the person is comfortable taking care of the bill, he or she won't be asking this question. So they have to have a meeting and be transparent and open. And so if it's also broke, it's either they reduce their expenses or they find a way to jack up their income to cover for whatever lifestyle that they have. I hope that helps.
All right. I hope that helps. Next question from our village members. How do we handle a spouse who is unable to save when suggested, always saying he does not have enough, but when there is family issue, his own family, he will just dish out the money? How do one manage this without sounding angry, really?
Similar to the previous question.
Yeah.
So you are married to this person and they are always broke. They don't have money to save. The money is always not enough. That's where a lot of us started from. The money is usually not enough. And they will tell us to still save, right? Which is always a very wise idea. At the end of the day, the benefit outweighs that little deprivation, wherein you have to still save, regardless of how small you are earning. But the person had gone further to say that, so when there is a family need, extended family now, it dishes out the money. So that goes back to mindset. That man or woman is operating because of some background knowledge, right? That person is indirectly telling the partner, this my family, they are more important than where we are currently. My mom, my dad, because when he or she says family, I'm inferring that it means maybe mom, dad, brothers or sisters, right? And even though that may not be bad in some way, because we don't know those who have contributed to his life in one way or the other to take him to where he is today, and so he feels indebted to them, right? But now your primary responsibility is towards this covenant partner, this wife or this husband, and these children that you have. But yes, God has given you the privilege to have. He has given you first for yourself and for the people around you. The people around you are your primary responsibility, which is yourself, your wife, and your children, right? So if your wife and children do not even have, are not benefactors of this blessing, and it is extended to people out there, if reverse is the case, how would this person also feel, right? So this person is operating from a mindset. There has to also be a sitting, a meeting. For adventure is the other partner always taking care of the bills in time past, right? So maybe when there is a need, this man or this woman just takes care of it without asking. Are you with me?
Yes,
so
please kindly turn off your mic.
So over time, one person just got lessons.
Lola's iPhone. Kindly turn off your mic, please. Thank you very much. You can continue, ma'am.
Someone just feels, oh, my partner can always take care. And then over time, they just believe they can hoard their money, they can keep, remember the spender, the order, the keeper, the saver, and all of that. So all of these things still comes back to communication. They have to sit and be open and be honest. Remember I mentioned earlier, if there is no joint vision of how you want to put your money to run, to work, how you want to either multiply or spend or save, whatever you want to do with your money. No matter how much you earn, it's going to affect your relationship. Because now these people may have money, but because they are not transparent, they are not open, they are not being truthful, they are not coming clean with their wife, and they are not having a joint goal, a joint vision for how they want to spend their money. We have couples who have budgets, because it's something that we can help couples do, right? You have a budget for giving, that this month, this is what we have to give as a family. If any situation arises that is more than our giving budget, if it's something that doesn't have to do with life and death, it can be postponed. You are not the El Shaddai. Because sometimes we think that people only have us. Sometimes it is true, but most of the time it is not. People always have options.
Yeah.
But when you have, put yourself in that position where every time they call, your wife can suffer, your husband can suffer, your family can suffer, you always want to, meet those needs. So you have to talk.
All right.
And if talking doesn't work, you see, counseling doesn't work, you have to take a tough decision. Sometimes people need to, just confront their reality and do what they need to do to help their situation.
Thank you very much. You really hammered a lot on transparency. As a question here, please keep sending in your questions. We've been talking much more on money matters. There are other areas I'm very sure that you might be having issues. If it's money matters, no problem. We can focus on that fully throughout the section. However, you talked about much on transparency. Transparency. And this person is saying, if my transparency is causing me too much problem, if my transparency is causing me issues too much demand that leaves me broke, and I'm living here in Nigeria, how do I handle this and still maintain my sanity? You are very open, transparent, communicate, this is what another, and this thing is causing you, is making you, instead of you making.
Right. So once you declare that this is how much I have.
What I have, until they see the end, they won't stop.
Maybe the person is a spender or a shopper. They just come up with, how to just quickly spend the money, right? Sometimes it may be on very critical things, and sometimes they might just be on, waste, right? So what I also mean when I say being transparent is to declare what you carry, declare what you have, and then agree on a plan for the money. A money that you don't plan for, you will squander. They have taught us that a lot of time. A money you don't have, you must plan for it. We are saving a percentage. We are saving a percentage on for mortgage. We are saving for the children. We are saving to give. We are saving for house upkeep. We are saving for travel. We are saving for. So when I say be transparent, you must declare how much you have. I did mention earlier, until your partner gives you that reason to doubt, you mustn't start by doubting. So when this person is now saying, I've been transparent, but I'm at a point where my transparency is causing financial crisis. This is how much I earn, but this is what it's going to be used for. That must also be part of your transparency. And when you declare, there must be a reason for the funds, so that when that person comes to ask for what is outside what the both of you have agreed, it has to be another discussion for it to happen. So someone says, I'm earning, ₦1 million, and this percentage is going for saving towards traveling, or saving towards a project, or saving for a property or whatever. And then you come and say that your grandmother who died 7 years ago, they want to turn the person's side from left to right. The way we do in Nigeria sometimes. So there has to be a discussion that was not part of the plan. Even though we also have to be flexible, wherein you want to listen to your partner, you want to, the person may have a superior argument for the reason why they have to have that, spending done. You have that conversation. You plan it. But anytime you think that this person hasn't been understanding enough and is also causing you some mental breakdown, like I mentioned, wisdom is profitable to direct, right? So which means whatever it is you are hiding away from your partner, let it be for a good cause. Let it not be for a selfish reason. So that even at the end of the day, if you don't want to be open and declare, the person can feel okay. It was actually for the benefit of the entire family. You didn't hide the money, you didn't keep it, you didn't spend it just because you wanted to be selfish. That's also a way to be safe, wherein I'm not declaring because I don't want to go bankrupt. I don't want to be in debt. I don't want to spend on, priorities. I want to keep this money, but this is the reason why I have to do this.
All right.
That helps.
Yeah, the questions are coming in. Thank you very much. Keep bringing the questions. So very quickly, I just want you to quickly touch on this finance management question. So how do you manage joint business, property business, mortgage for fairness, and both of you want to be managing? How do you share this for a sense of fulfillment?
Right. That's a lot in one question.
Yeah.
We are looking at family.
So let's quickly, because other questions are coming.
We are looking at business. We are looking at returns. We are looking at how importantly you can still maintain your relationship, right? Because I have seen couples who have done business together and they have succeeded. They have done excellently well, right? The husband and the wife, they own the business and it has thrived. The business has been sustained for years, right? And the business also has, they've done well pretty much. But what I see in most cases is that they had a solid relationship first. They had a solid relationship. Their level of understanding, their level of, their worldview, their management of self, their emotional intent is very high. Because if you are taking that into business, it could pretty much make it easier. Unlike if your relationship is strained already, if your relationship there is no trust, if there is no openness, if there is no consistency, there is no commitment, there is no much of dedication, and you now want to own a business together. And remember, the moment you have a business together as a couple, you're going to be talking business a lot. Even when you leave the business space, maybe you have an office now that the both of you resume to. When you come back home, you're still going to be talking business. You understand? At every of the engagement, you'll be talking about your children, family, and you'll be talking business. So there is no way you can really separate the two. So what I will advise the couple, if they think that there might be challenges, is to seek professional help, because there are several questions I want to ask them. How long they've been married? What's their relationship health like? Is it relationship problem they have that is now being transferred into the business environment? Or they've been able to separate the two, or they're having trust issues, or is it not someone is committed, or someone is taking?
Okay. If you are just joining
There's
us,
a lot in that question that needs to be evaluated for me to properly help them. So they may just need a sitting with the counselor or so that will help them of all that. Hear you?
Yeah, your line is breaking. Hello. Yeah, you are back.
Okay, I'm back. Good.
Yeah. All right, let's quickly look at another question. How do you deal with insufficient communication? Hello. This is Kemi. All right. How do you deal with, are you back?
Yes, I'm back. I can hear you now.
How do you deal with insufficient communication? That is a situation. The wife is a stay-at-home mom, hubby works, and so he gets home tired, legitimately so, and they are not able to communicate as much as they should.
Right. You are not alone. It's the reality of, quite a number of couples, right? Wherein life is getting busy. It's getting busy, actually. You both have to work, and then someone is away from home. But communication is the life of every relationship. We still have to find that time to keep in touch, to stay in touch. And thank God for our technology. Thank God for many, many avenues that we have to do a voice call, drop a voice message, do a video call. So when someone is away from home, I'm thinking, yeah, I know some job can be really time demanding, can be really, where they are busy, they don't even have time to do anything. But I always ask, do you have time to eat? Do you have time to go to the restroom? Do you have time to at least just take short breaks? Right? So when you know you are not away, that you are far away from home, like someone at home, like where your heart is, where your treasure is, your heart would be, right? So you have to make the time. It may not be sufficient, because when we say make time, we're not talking about quantity time. It's not quantity, it's quality, right? I'm not sure this stay-at-home mom is asking the husband to be at home for 7 hours. No, it's not the quantity, because we all need that time away from each other, actually. It's healthy for our emotional health, for our mental health, right? So this person has to make time. Even though they would stay at home, the wife also has to understand that, yeah, my husband is a busy person and all of that. So there will be times that she has to understand, which I'm sure she has been doing, for her to be asking the question. There will be times the man would be available. There will be times the man will be present. Or there will be times the man will be around but will not be present. Maybe he needs to sleep or rest or eat or other things. You will have to allow that time, right? But there would be time, if you really want your relationship to thrive, you need to talk, you need to spend time together, you need to communicate, you need to express your emotions, you need to plan, you need to play, you need to, cheer each other up, you need to keep in touch. So when you say you leave in the morning and then no call, no text, no message, no video call, no voice note, no picture, no hi, no hello, and then for 12, 18 hours you are gone, and you just show up at night, and the next thing you want to do, hit your bed, snore, sleep, wake up the next morning and continue the cycle, you are going to have a broken relationship. You are going to damage your relationship. Relationship doesn't work like that. No. You need that interaction. It's a must. And that's why you then have to just plan. You have to plan. You have to be deliberate. You have to be intentional. 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, pillow talk at night when you come back. You have to stretch yourself. It's not going to be every day. The partner will now have to understand, even if it's once or twice in the week. Okay, Wednesday he's tired, he needs to sleep, the both of us are flexible, we are considerate of each other. We are being kind of each other, right? And we are taking the little time, the little moments. That time you want to hug, that time you want to peck, that time you want to hold their hand, that time you are stealing, he's in the bathroom, you are talking. He's trying to wear his shoes, you are still rubbing his head.
All right.
He's packing a bag. I'm just stealing every available, time because life is busy.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let's quickly, we have a few minutes to go, and I want us to quickly take two topics as it relates to one. We are in a few days, we'll be celebrating Valentine, and everybody wants to express themselves in one way or the other.
Right.
Can you explain how couples can use their love language to express and receive love more effectively?
Right. So back to love language, Valentine. So on a lighter note, someone says, don't let anybody tell you every day is Valentine. And then they are trying to shy away from making the moment special. So Valentine is not every day. Valentine is February 14th. Even though we love upon each other every day. That's what I mean. So every individual, all of us in here, including myself, we have a way at which we want to be loved. We have a way at which our brain receives love. Someone says Valentine is coming, right? And but as human beings, we also want to love someone the way we want to receive love. That's usually our default mode. If, for instance, I'm someone who loves to receive, affection, who loves to be shown affection by gifts, right? I would most likely also want to buy gifts for the people I love. And that's a wrong equation. You don't love people the way you want to love them. You love people the way they want to be loved. Love me the way I want. Don't love me on your own terms. It is my love. It is me that is receiving it. I'm the recipient. I'm the one that will feel, that will embrace, that will appreciate it, right? Because sometimes what happens is that, a partner goes all the way to love the partner in his own way of wanting to show love, right? And this partner might have put in the time, the effort, the energy, doing everything in his own head. By the time I do this for my husband, by the time I do this for my wife, they should be all over me. They should appreciate it. They should love it. They should be surprised. They should be wowed, right? In as much as you are putting the time, the effort, the money, and the resources, but have you firstly considered how that person wants to be loved?
All right.
Because the person may just want a hug. And sometimes when we are talking about emotions and logic, because sometimes some men want to try and rationalize it to say that, why would you say your love? I should just hug you. That's what you want. Why would you say just hug me or just spend time with me? Why not me go away and then bring you something? Right? So you don't have to explain. You don't have to want to make sense of how other people want to be loved. So if you're a married man, a married woman, it's very, very important that you recognize what your partner's love language is. There are 5 of them. You want to go online, read about them, fill an assessment, do a bit evaluation to know. And even if you can't lay your hands on that, be observant of your partner. How did they show love to you? How did they show love to children? How did they show love to people around them? They are giving you a clue. And there's nothing wrong to ask them, but you don't always want to ask. Right? It's not romantic when you are always asking. What should I buy for you? What should I do for you? It's not always romantic. Not that it's not nice, right? But it's very nice when you make it a surprise or when you just go ahead and deliver. That's what gets to your partner. Right?
All
So
right.
be observant, ask, do an assessment, and then go all out to just make sure your partner,
All right.
experience the way they want to.
All right. Very quickly. I've just got 2 questions that's it here, and I wouldn't want us to leave everyone without hanging. My question, right, and the question goes thus: what are the tips on maintaining your individuality and experimentation in your individual growth process within marriage, especially when your spouse isn't proactive in the growth process and change as you would like, without feeling trapped and frustrated within the marriage?
Right. That's a lot of shared. And that's the reality of, some couples, wherein the person doesn't match your energy. So, like some people would say, you are very enthusiastic and the person is not. You are very driven and the person is not. You want to grow, you want to expand, you want to achieve more, you want to dream bigger, you want to do more with life, right? And your partner isn't as much driven or into all of that like you. Truth is that it can be frustrating. We have had to work with lots of couples who are in similar situation, right? It's something that can be managed, that can be resolved, but it's going to take a lot of understanding, a lot of time, a lot of patience, a lot of evaluation, a lot of self, internal checks. Because the first thing I hear you say is, how can you maintain your individuality? You have to maintain your individuality throughout life. And it's not something anybody should steal from anyone. Marriage shouldn't stop you from being yourself. Marriage at some point require that you are flexible, require that you change direction for a while. Will it require that you slow down? Will it require that you buckle up? It will require all of that at different season and time, right? But your individuality any relationship that takes away your individuality is an unhealthy relationship. That doesn't want you to be your real self. Doesn't want you to live the life you think you should be living. A purposeful, an impactful, a vision-driven life. And that's why people say that when you marry the wrong person, it can slow you down, it can affect your life. It's true. But if you are still in that relationship as well, there are a few things you can begin to do, wherein your partner doesn't feel that they are hindering your life, and you also are not running faster than you should. Because time may sometimes require that you slow down for your partner to catch up, or that you go ahead of your partner. Because sometimes people need to see that you are really making the move for them to actually, come along. So there are different situations to this. And one thing I would say, do not at the expense of you trying to maintain or fight for your individuality for your relationship. Because your partner may not necessarily be a bad person. That person may just have a different view, a different energy, a different personality, different desires. Not all of us will buy land in Banana Island, right? Some people are just so okay with wherever it is they are, right? And someone thinks I can hold a multinational, and someone is trying to just calm down. The least you have should be okay, right? So it takes a lot of conversation, communication, understanding. Because what I have seen in my practice is that sometimes those people do come along, and sometimes when they don't come along, you have to reevaluate your life entirely and make the right decision for yourself eventually.
All right. Let's take this final question. The questions came in slowly. So the last question, whenever I tell my partner everything happening to me at workplace and my siblings, he used the information to mock me at every slightest provocation. How do I undo that?
I'm sorry, that's not a matured way to behave. Someone doesn't share their vulnerable side with you, and then because that's one of the law of relationship. Emotional intelligence, emotional awareness. You can't say because you are provoked, you are angry. Yeah, you would be provoked, you'll be angry. It's part of life. Your emotions will dwindle. You would have moments where you are blue, where you are low. But one thing must be constant. It is you being mindful of the emotions of your partner, wherein you don't want to talk anyhow. You don't want to behave anyhow. You don't want to express yourself anyhow. If you talk anyhow, you will see anyhow. If you behave anyhow, you will have an anyhow relationship, right? So it's a sign of immaturity when your partner, not just anybody now, because I believe this person is asking, partner, spouse, confides in you and tells you certain information, and then few months or weeks down the line, something happens, and then you are using everything they've said against, back at them. If you are also to flip it, do you want that person to still be vulnerable with you? And remember that vulnerability is one of the major elements that makes a romantic, that builds a romantic relationship. You have to be vulnerable. Let me tell you my weakness. Let me be open with you, because I believe that you are my friend. You are my partner. You should cover me. You should protect me. You should preserve me. You should support me. You should manage my inadequacies in front of whosoever. But in this situation, you have left your partner, at the expense of all the other people that you have, either had conversation with, or belittled her, or throw back what she has shared with you on her face. Things like this will certainly affect your relationship. You can't have an intimate relationship with such a behavior. It calls for some personal help and development to be able to manage information, especially when it comes from your partner. I hope that helps.
All right, thank you very much. Please, let's appreciate our guest speaker for today in the chat box. Let's just say thank you for the sharing and knowledge. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Please, I want to see those messages in the chat box. Let's appreciate our time. Sometimes, if you have to go and pay for a session, and I'm very sure it's going to cost you a lot, and she's been able to offer you this opportunity to get marriage lessons for free. So let's appreciate our guest speaker for today. Thank you very much, Ma. We appreciate your time. And somebody asked a question. I just want you to just use the opportunity to talk about yourself and what you do. And somebody asked me a question, and I'm going to pose that to you. Let me find the question. It said, which one is the adultery recovery qua?
Yeah, adultery recovery intervention is an intervention we provide for married couples who are going through a phase where one or both partner, have gotten involved in extramarital affairs, in infidelity, in having relationships aside their committed relationship, right? Where the partner has come open, or someone has found out, and they still want to maintain their relationship. They want to go through that phase. They want to heal. They want to forgive, and they want to rebuild their relationship. Adultery, right? So pretty much what we do is that even if adultery happens and someone has, own up to it, is responsible to make amends, we can then hold their hands and make it more like an easier journey for them to still maintain their relationship. Right? So that's what that.
Okay, just use this opportunity to talk about where can the other people find you, your social media handle, your email, your website. Just tell us about what you do. And
Okay, so my name is Kemi Tony Akinwumi. They call me KTA. I'm a lover of love. I love love. I love relationships. I love marriage. I love family. I help couples to have a wonderful time with their marriage and with their family. I help singles find the lover and keep the lover for life. And I also help challenge, couples to get back their groove, either after adultery or whatever, situation. Right? So pretty much all I do is around relationship, love, family life. I'm a counselor. I work as a therapist. That's what I do with my life. Over the past 15 years of active practice, I've been able to work with thousands of couples, and we've recorded quite a lot of success. I host couples events, I host singles events. I'm just that person that you can always have in your corner when it comes to relationship support. Okay, so on Facebook, I'm Kemi Tony Akinwumi. I'm trying to type On Instagram, I'm Kemi Talking at Kemi Talking, KEMITALKIN, right? So Kemi Talking on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. No, there is no G. Thank you for dropping that, but there is no G. KEMITALKIN. Twitter, LinkedIn, IG, and show that one. Okay, that's so my contacts. You want to call me for some support, counseling. I'm always at your service. 0803413130. Why can't I type? All right.
Let's give it a few seconds to do that. Just quickly put in your details so that if anybody wants, just give you a few minutes to do that.
Okay, 0803. You are typing for me, right?
0803.
Yeah, 41.
41.
31.
31.
530.
530.
Right. KemiTalking@gmail.com. Right.
All right.
Thank you. So KemiTalking@gmail.com.
KemiTalking.
Yes, without the G. KEMITALKIN at Gmail. Okay. Right.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Once again, thank you for your time. Thank you, Mrs. Kemi Tony Akinwumi. We would hopefully next time we call upon you, you will be there for us once again. We appreciate your time. And for everyone that has joined us from wherever they are in Nigeria or in the UK, thank you very much for your time. And I hope that next time, please join us next month for another wonderful TRIBES meeting. And we hope that as we continue to develop ourselves and build a stronger community, we all grow together. Remember, I am because you are, Ubuntu. And thank you very much. I'm yours, Israel Anu. I'm signing out. Enjoy your evening.
Very much. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you very much, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.